Welcome to Looking Ahead to Beto Days. I am Chris.
And I'm Ryan.
And we have a special guest with us here today. We have Rhonda Hart.
Hello.
How are you doing?
Welcome to the show, Rhonda.
I'm good. How are y'all?
Doing pretty well.
Excellent. Excellent.
I live in Virginia, so it snowed on Friday, and it was 60 degrees today. So, only
it is It is officially allergy season here in Texas. My allergies have kept me up all night last night, and so I am currently operating under very little sleep at the moment.
That sounds
awesome.
Excellent. Yeah. We're just rolling right in here. So let's get right into the show. So the Nevada caucus was this week, or was Saturday, right? They held it Saturday, which, I mean, we had Charlie on here, and I still don't fully understand caucuses, but I can tell you it went better than Iowa.
Yeah.
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 I mean, we have results within a reasonable time frame, so that's an improvement,
right? We actually know what's happening there. The big thing is, Bernie Sanders wins Nevada, but I think one of the big things that stuck out to me really wasn't the candidates; it was voter turnout.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when I had read that voter turnout was like 4%. And, I'm, like I said, saw it in a split second. But if that was voter turnout for a primary this important for basically the biggest election in the history of ever, you'd think that more people would be turning out. But you've got like 4% of people, getting out. And that's a problem.
Yeah, I'm beginning to wonder. I wonder if the caucus system is what's keeping people away. I mean, it's not like you're just going down and pulling a lever. You got to commit some time and actually stand up for your choice. So I don't know. Maybe that's keeping people out of the system. I think I have heard anecdotal stories about people who maybe participated last year in 2016 and had some bad experiences from a certain candidate's supporters there. So I don't know. I'm wondering if it's just the caucus in general is keeping people away.
Well, if you're somebody that you don't have a working schedule that you can attend the caucus, or let's say you have social anxiety or a physical disability that makes it unable to stand or be around large groups of people, you're out. Like, I would completely skip that if I had those things going for me, which I don't. I'm lucky, but I can see, how some people would. And I would rather just go and stand in line and vote.
Absolutely.
Yeah, same here.
I mean, I had to do. I run a comic book company. We buy and sell comics and stuff. We're doing a commission today, and I had to struggle 4 days just for childcare. Like, my wife, because of how much the commission will make on the end, took off for her to be able to, for me to be able to go and do this.
Mm-hmm.
But if she couldn't have done that, I wouldn't have been able to do that. Now, put that in terms of the caucus. If I'm at work, or I've got a child and I can't take my child with me. My son's 15 months old. He's 1.
Mm-hmm.
He's 1 years old. Right? And they do it at Iowa's at like 7:00 at night.
Yeah.
I would get nothing. He would lose his mind.
Yeah. If you work third shift, if you're a factory worker or healthcare professional in the middle of the night, you can't go and caucus. It's ridiculous.
It's very disenfranchising. It's undemocratic, and I know that people really like it, and there are some diehard caucus supporters. But you can't have something like that be such a problem.
Yeah.
But you don't get true results, and 4%, if that's the case, that's real bad. Right. It'll be interesting to see what we get elsewhere, and I think something else from the Nevada caucus that I noticed. Was that a lot of Republicans switched parties and then switched back because of the same day switching, and voted and voted for like Bernie Sanders. That was the big thing. They switched over, voted for Bernie Sanders, and switched back, which is actually not new. Rush Limbaugh brought that up in like 2008. Like people in North Carolina did it, they're planning on doing it again.
Yeah, I don't think it really. I mean, the same things people claim happens here in Texas because Texas is an open primary, and you can technically vote in either one. I just don't think they're doing it in enough numbers to matter. But the Democratic base is still going to go out and vote, and they're going to do their thing, and the person who ultimately is nominated is going to be represented at the Democratic Party. I think there's very little of that they can actually do.
Yeah, I kind of, and I tend to agree with you on that. It's, and again, the way you combat, because I know there were people on Twitter who kind of complained about it. Well, how you combat that is you get voter turnout.
Yep.
You're not going to get as many Republicans as you do Democrats in a Democratic primary because not all of them care that much to go vote in a fucking Democrat primary. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, it takes a special person to go do that as a Democrat to a Republican Party. It's a lot of work. So it's not going to happen in those numbers.
Something else that kind of impressed me about Nevada is how predictable the results have been up to this point. I mean, if I had to, you go back, rewind 3 months ago, I probably could have told you Pete would have won the first 2 states because it's just the amount of money he's investing in those, along with Bernie Sanders, because those are very liberal states. Democratic parties in those states tend to be more liberal. And now Nevada, South Carolina, you'll probably see the same thing with Biden starting to creep back up there in the delegate count. He'll probably come in first or second in South Carolina and have a big showing on Super Tuesday. Probably, I mean, if I had to predict it, it just seems like this is following a very predictable pattern. We're not seeing much change in 2016, the 2016 map, other than, the moderates are splitting their votes between a couple of different people. Pete Buttigieg is still out there pulling some support Biden. And now our new favorite friend, Mike Bloomberg, is out there again, sucking support for people.
Yeah. Mike, we had
Mike
scheduled
Bloomberg.
Mike Bloomberg.
Yeah.
Name recognition. That is how he's trying to do it. He has spent $435 million on ads, right? And we were talking about, because we were talking about the U.S. Constitution today in my classes, and I asked my kids, and I said, name one of the guys running for president that's a Democrat, and they said Mike Bloomberg. And I said, can you name anybody else? And they said, I have no idea. Because it's just repetition. And what I was trying to express to them was exactly that's what a lot of politicians will do is name recognition, because you'll look at a ballot, you'll go down the list of candidates and say, I don't know who the fuck that is. I don't know who the fuck that is. That sounds familiar. I don't know who that is.
Yeah.
And so that's how it's done. We need to have a lot more educated electorate.
Yeah. So I haven't early voted yet in Texas, and because I've been marinating, I've really been taking my time on this, and I went to vote411.org this afternoon. And you can put in your address and it brings up your entire ballot, name, pictures, interviews, where they stand on issues. And so you can go through and you can print your ballot and you can go and make your choices at home so that you have a reference when you go to the polls, which is great. Because I didn't know half of these people when we get into the court system. I didn't know any of these guys. So that was really, really helpful.
Oh, absolutely. And that's vote411.com.
Yes.
Awesome. Everybody who's listening.
Or no, .org.
.org, sorry.
Yeah, .org.
.org. My bad, I messed that up.
It's okay.
That's all right.
Vote411.org. And that sounds fantastic. That's something that your average person doesn't know about.
Yeah.
Right? Unless they go looking and, all we see is commercials for candidates. I feel like the DNC, if they really want to, or any political party, if any political party wants to make any kind of grounds, it's to, educate the electorate. Fortunately, that's not really what they want.
No.
But
no.
Yeah,
they run commercials with, this is where you go. This is how you do this.
Yeah.
This is how you register to vote. This is where you go when you go to vote.
Yeah.
This is how you define that place out.
And in Texas, it's a real common practice to have poll greeters and volunteers, and some of these candidates will literally go up and help you get out of your car just so they can hand you a push card. And you don't know who they're affiliated with or what party they're with. So seriously, print out your sample ballot, go do your research, and come prepared to the polls.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a big thing too. In Virginia, you have to be like 50 yards outside of the polling place, but there's always people there asking you questions.
Always, yeah.
Like, it's a lot of overload.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, with caucusing, social anxiety, you know, all of a sudden you have a bunch of people you don't know coming at you.
Like, oh yeah, yeah.
That can't be comfortable. I mean, I'm the type of person that I'll fucking talk to anybody. I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, you have somebody else, like my wife hates that I do that.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'll talk, like I said, I'll talk to anybody, but she's not a big fan of me just talking to people, you know, randomly about just random stuff. That's not everybody's thing. I don't know. I'm getting kind of jaded. I'm not going to lie, with a lot of the stuff that's going on. And that brings me to my crazy idea that we talked about on Twitter, I think this week or last week.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
That is,
bet on us.
all right, I'm gonna hit you with this.
Okay.
Not so much focusing on the White House, right? You know, it's kind of a shit show. You know, what if instead of focusing on the White House, we focused on taking the Senate and taking the Senate in force, right? We had historic numbers in the House of Representatives, and yes, I know this is completely just way out there and improbable, but it's nice to think about. And what if we put the work in and we got 67 fucking senators? If we have 67 senators, we have 2/3 of the Senate. With 2/3 of the Senate, any law you want to pass, as long as you have the House of Representatives, you can pass because you have override veto power.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Easy.
Yep.
Right? That also puts Trump in the position of, if I fuck up, it's game over.
He can be impeached again and then removed because we'll have the Senate in our favor.
Absolutely.
And so I need whoever the nominee is, I almost need them to throw their presidential election and campaign for these down ballot senators in Kentucky, Arizona, Maine, come after Texas. And I think we need to hit him below the belt.
Oh yeah, because that's 100% where the power lies. I mean, you know, for whatever reason, the Democratic Party, we focus on the presidency so much that we kind of forget that the Senate's an actual thing, and that, you know, there's important Senate races, important senators out there. You know, the map for a supermajority this cycle be pretty rough, but we could get most of the way there. And the next map, I think, in 2024 is actually supposedly really favorable to Democrats. So, you know, yeah, there's a lot. Those are the kinds of races I think that ultimately are more important. You know, do it, and that not only Senate races but also state houses. Because remember, this is a census year, so state houses all across the country are going to be redistricting maps, and we complain so much about gerrymandering. Yep. This is it. You know, this is the next 10 years right here.
Yep.
In a nutshell.
And, you know, yeah, it would be great if we got Donald Trump out of the White House. But, like, for me personally, Donald Trump doesn't know who the hell I am. Does Eliz Markowitz and Katie know who I am? Yes. Does Seema in District 2 know me? Yeah. What about Lizzie Pennell Fletcher? Yes. So these races that are closer to your home, your mayors, your school boards, and your state houses, those are so much more important. So, you know, like, I haven't thrown my support behind a presidential yet, but we were up there in Katy for 3 weekends for Eliz.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I saw that. I mean, I saw all the work y'all did.
Yeah, because those people that are closest to us will save our butts in the end.
Well, they have the biggest impact, right? The government has the big trickle down. And yes, the shit that the Trump administration is doing is just absolutely egregious and abhorrent. But where we can do the most immediate good, because if we can switch those our down ballots, right? Fuck you! You can't have your camp here, right? You can't bring this here. You mean you have to? They're going to push a lot harder.
Yep.
At a local level and a state level, and we can do real change. And I can tell you exactly. We have fucking Virginia. Virginia is the best example of this.
God bless Virginia.
I have been just so proud to be a Virginian. It's been awesome. Like they're enacting real change. We saw really fucked up shit happening, and we did something about it.
Oh, I know.
And I say this every time, but it is in no small part than to Beto. And you're exactly right, Rhonda. We need, like, if they throw their presidential election, which is going to be hard to ask anybody to do, because hubris and all that. If we can win at the down ballot level, we're going to be okay. We can combat this by massing elsewhere, right? And you don't do that by alienating all of fucking Florida.
No, yeah.
Right.
With like, since we're talking down ballot races, I'm going to bring up the Bernie Fidel thing, and was perturbed by that. And you have seen a lot of pushback from the Cuban people who live there, and that's a big population there. The Latin American population in Florida is huge, and they're not big fans of Fidel Castro. And you're going to need their vote because Florida has played a huge role in just about every election through 2000.
Starting in 2000.
Yeah.
It made the difference there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can't just write them off, and saying shit like that does that, and it's dumb.
Yeah.
Rant over.
Well, and it's bad optics because he said that about Fidel Castro, and then fucking Wormtail, the senator from Texas, tweeted out about something about the firing squad. And it was really sensitive for me because I had just spent time with him on Friday talking about gun violence. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. You're so clueless and insensitive.
Oh, first of all, I love all of the Harry Potter references. I love everyone.
Okay. Yes.
And like you said, Rhonda's talking about Ted Cruz, who is pretty much universally disliked by just about everyone, because he's kind of a huge douche nozzle. But see, I hadn't seen that tweet.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, you went and talked to him, and
I did.
What is the difference between Ted?
Yeah, how did that go?
Yeah, how did that go?
How did it look? How was it staring evil in the face?
So for like when we first got into his office, like I couldn't bring myself to look at his face because I knew that like I'm an emotional crier. And I cry when I get stressed out and upset. And I knew that if I looked at him, I would just completely lose my composure. So we were in there I had a couple of friends of mine that are very well informed in the gun violence prevention community. And then it was Senator Cruz and two of his aides, and we were all kind of like in this circle in his office, and I found like a lamp or something to stare at for the most part while I was talking to him, just so that I wouldn't get over upset and come off across as, oh, that, crazy woman, we had some moments. We were definitely not going to agree on pretty much all of gun violence prevention.
Mm-hmm.
But he did kind of share that he has a gun safe at his house, and he talks to his girls about, this is only for adults. Mom and I are the only ones that have the combo. And so, if that's the one thing that he and I can agree with, I did ask for another meeting if it's possible, and we can talk about that one issue of storage, because like there's money in the state budget for an ad campaign. I gave him a copy of some bills that Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee had written in honor of Santa Fe. And so, we'll go on that one little tiny thing of storage.
Hey, I mean, it's one small step, and it's a big thing, because that's not. I mean, there's so many kids each year that are killed by irresponsible gun safety preventable things.
Yep.
Oh yeah, that's just totally preventable.
Yep.
And it happens all too often. And that's one thing that I can remember about my parents. My dad has a huge gun safe. It is, I mean, like a bank vault that only he knows. I don't even think my mom knows the combination. But all of that stuff is all locked away. It is impossible to get to. Nobody knows the information, and it's a small step, because I don't agree with my parents on anything ever, really. It's interesting at holidays, by the way. Being, I grew up in a very Republican town, and they can excuse away anything.
Hey, Sarah Palin was my mayor.
Texas.
That's fair. You guys win. But, hey, my dad grew up in Dumas, Texas, outside of Amarillo.
Oh man.
Yeah, my mom grew up in Newport News, Virginia, I don't know how that worked out.
I was stationed over there, Fort Eustis.
I saw that you had said that for some reason. I couldn't remember. I meant to comment on it because I teach right down the road from there.
Yeah.
I get a lot of we get a lot of kids from all over the world and then a lot of kids from Fort Eustis. So it's actually really nice. I really like teaching at the school.
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting.
It's small.
And I'd forgotten we had that in common. Yeah. So just to start kind of break things down, guys. There's still so much we can all do. I know there's the presidential election, but we also have all of these down ballot races that we are really, really trying to, and just let you know, they are super important. We can all make a difference there. Your local representatives, they see you.
Sometimes
not all of them come home.
Exactly. Yes,
but they should.
Randy Weber.
I've heard of him. I have heard of Randy Weber. Nothing good, but I've heard of him.
Don't get me started on him.
Right? That's going to be a whole nother podcast.
Yeah. We can do a whole episode just on politicians that go to Washington.
Yeah, my wife got to meet Mr. Randy Weber at one point, and I did not have very good experience with him.
Oh, he told me that the Second Amendment was a God-given right. Looked at me in my face and told me
So, we have UTMB down here. It's a big, we do a lot of drug addiction stuff down here. And he thinks that drug addiction is like, oh, you can just think it away. And that's the kind of concern. Like, oh, you just need to not think about it, and you can willpower and get rid of addiction. I think the guy's a fucking moron. Yeah, I hate him.
I work in a fucking school, right? And I can tell you kids that start early, kids have problems, like real big problems that get overlooked, and a lot of that turns into drug abuse issues. I mean, we see it all the time, and pretending that it's not a mental disorder is like a super fucking problem, right? And that's problem. And that, again, this is a whole nother episode, especially when it comes to the penal system, right? We shouldn't be imprisoning addicts. We should be helping them, treating the disease, not, punishing people. But that's neither here nor there. But anyways, guys, Rhonda, thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us. Definitely.
Yeah, thank you so much.
We need to do, this needs to be like a thing.
Oh, I'm totally fucking down.
I like podcasts.
We'll make it a thing.
And swearing.
We will do regular check-ins. You can come hang out with us anytime.
Oh, hell yes.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So like we said, get out and vote. Definitely get out and vote. But get out and volunteer, donate. anything you can do to help the cause. You know, we got a lot of work to do.
Bring a friend when you vote.
Yes,
like
that's
seriously,
definitely take a friend.
Text all your family. Let them know to go out and vote.
Mm-hmm.
I will not do that, but the rest of you, yes, do that.
Oh well.
No, look, I've been saying this since 2018. I need someone to get me a bus because I have a CDL. Like, get me a fucking yellow school bus and I will drive people to the polls. I will load that thing up. I would love to do that. It would be so fun.
I've already told my wife I want to drive people to vote.
Yeah, we need party buses.
There you go.
Right?
Democrats, we talk a good game. Like, oh, we're gonna such a blue wave, blue tsunami. When it comes down to it, like, you're kind of lazy as fuck, and you don't go to the polls.
Yo,
I did out and work.
I did ballot petitions in fucking Virginia. There was like a handful of us who did a kick-ass job, but I saw, tons of Beto events, tons and tons of people came out, but none of them volunteered. The core group of us, Virginia Beto supporters, we fucking kicked ass.
Yep.
Shout out to y'all.
It's always the same, like, core group of people. Like, you know, when I went to Eliz's thing, I saw the same people week after week after week.
It's the people that want to get out and work. It's the people that really believe in this, in the movements. And those are the people I want to be around. All right, guys, take it easy. Keep on doing your thing and keep on looking ahead to Beto Days.
Yes, for real.